Hello and welcome. This is Faceless Opinion, and I don't know how to swim. Welcome you back to another video. Let me ask you a question. What do you think is the most important factor that makes a video game good? Is it the story, gameplay, graphics, multiplayer capabilities, side content? See, any of those would be a viable contender, depending on what you value in your games. However, I also think that can be a rather loaded question, as not all games are made equally. Take Minecraft, for example. Do you think anyone plays Minecraft for the plot? Is there even a plot in Minecraft? Granted, there are things you can do, but not what I would consider an overarching narrative. Now, that is not a bad thing. I like Minecraft. As much as I like a good story, Minecraft does not need one for you to like playing it, since there are other things going for it that makes it fun to play. Just go back to the other factors I listed earlier. However, there was one factor that I did not really bring up at all, that being ambience. And that is because I would argue that it is not the most important thing for a game to have to be successful. It's important, don't get me wrong, but let's not kid ourselves. That's not going to be the first thing we're going to pick for the question I asked earlier. What do you think is the most important factor that makes a video game good? Except in the case for one game, Subnautica. For those who don't know what Subnautica is, allow me to explain. Subnautica is an action-adventure survival game which came out in 2018, made by Unknown Worlds Entertainment. The premise for it is rather straightforward. You are the sole survivor of a spaceship that crash-landed on an aquatic planet, leading you to need to go into the deep ocean, gather resources to survive, and trying to find a way to escape. Now, there is a lot more that goes on, but we don't need to deep dive into the details. If they become relevant later, I'll bring it up. We just need to know the main idea. All alone in an alien world, go into big ocean, get resources, try and survive. Got that? Good. Based off of that description, this game sounds like your run-of-the-mill cookie-cutter survival game. But let me assure you, there's more to Subnautica than that, as I consider it to have one of the best atmospheres that I have seen in gaming, because without it, I don't think Subnautica would be as successful. How does ambience play a role? I would say there are three key components that shape it, those being setting, sound, and isolation. The world of Subnautica takes place on the planet 4546b, an oceanic world in which the game takes place in an area known as the Crater, which is a huge dormant undersea volcano that is home to a vast variety of biomes that are teeming with life, both fauna and flora, all of which have a very distinct design that make them all unique from one another. Believe me when I say that this game visually is very good. Mostly. God damn, what is up with those character models? I am glad this is all in first person. I don't want to stare at that face longer than I need to. Anyhow, the environment plays a pivotal role in the crafting of ambience. As in a survival game, you need to go out and explore, to collect resources, to collect blueprints, to make equipment, to learn about this new world you are in. Thalassophobia is the fear of the ocean, as many do not know what may reside in the deep dark depths or could be off in the horizon. That feeling would be amplified to a higher degree in an alien world, since the rules on 4546b might not apply on Earth. But we don't need to worry, since your life pod landed in an area known as the Safe Shallows, a biome that lives up to its namesake. It is not that deep, has a lot of resources that you'll need to get you started, and chock full of fish for consumption, such as the peeper and bladderfish. The only thing to be mindful of is the gasopods, as they emit acidic orbs known as gas pods. But as long as you don't get too close to them, they're harmless. Though you should have a degree of caution when exploring nearby caves, as they are home for the crash fish. Yeah, those suckers are annoying and can freak out anyone upon first encounter, but nothing that can't be handled, though sooner or later you will have to leave the Safe Shallows, as you'll need to find different resources you can't get there, and find more parts to scan to build better gear, leading you to go further out to biomes like the kelp forest, the grassy plateaus, the mushroom forest. Maybe you might go a bit deeper depending if you manage to craft a sea moth, and venture into the jelly shroom caves. Now, there are some creatures to be mindful of, like stalkers, sand sharks, and crab snakes, though if you keep your distance and have your sea moth or sea glide, you can get away real quick. However, there is one location that you're going to need to head at some point: the Aurora, the ship you were on that crashed down on this planet. The ship that you can always see when you surface to refill your air. Why would you want to head there? 2 reasons: all the possible blueprints you can acquire there, and to deal with the radiation that's been let out when the Aurora's reactor exploded. Best to get that fixed and no longer have to wear a radiation suit. Off you go, but while traveling there, you hear a roar. You look around and see it, the Reaper Leviathan, every Subnautica player's favorite creature. A creature that can nearly one-shot you and do massive damage to your vehicles, though you can sneak past and get inside the Aurora, fix the drive core, and snag plenty of blueprints. After that, you continue exploring, finding life pods of those who were also on the Aurora, abandoned bases of another ship that crashed here, and even alien facilities, learning some seriously important lore. We'll talk about that later. Eventually, you have to go deep, and just like the deep ocean of Earth, it is a different world with such bizarre creatures. As you explore the Grand Reef, Blood Kelp Zone, Lost River, and the Inactive Lava Zone, to name a few spots on your deep water tour. You'll see things like the crab squid, ampiel, warper, the ghost leviathan, and sea dragon leviathan. I think I painted a good enough picture for you. That was only a portion of the places you can go there, and there's a lot more, but we'd be here all day, so I'll give us a quick rundown on why the setting here works. There is nothing really stopping you from going wherever, except for maybe death, but that is easily fixed with the right vehicles. For me, the game doesn't hold your hand, but will always guide you in the right direction without explicitly telling you what to do. Take, for example, the Aurora. You're not told to go fix the Aurora, but it steers you towards it by giving you the schematics for the radiation suit, giving you the impression that if you want to go anywhere near it, you'll probably need the suit, as well as receiving the coordinates for life pods. You're not being forced to go, but it's worth checking out. There are many other examples like that, of events that happen which can guide you to an area you haven't been to, and what you see there makes you want to take a closer look at things. Then you have the creatures which pose the biggest threats to you, other than running out of oxygen. I mentioned the Reaper Leviathan. That thing strikes fear in all people who first encounter it. Granted, it is not the most dangerous, as I would say that would go either to the Ghost Leviathan or Sea Dragon Leviathan, but those are only encountered in the Lost River or Void for the Ghost Leviathan, or Lava Zone for the Sea Dragon Leviathan. But the Reapers are what I would say are the most iconic, as you will see them the most out of all the Leviathans, as there are the most of them in general, 25 in total. They can be found in certain biomes, particularly the dunes. The PDA is really funny when you enter the dunes for the first time.
Efficiency greatly decreased. Detecting multiple Leviathan class life forms in the region. Are you certain whatever you're doing is worth it?
But let's move aside from the creatures that want to kill you, which there are plenty, and to one of the most lovable, the cuttlefish. Look at this, it's so cute. You can have it as a pet, you just need to find one of the eggs and hatch it. All in all, Subnautica, from a setting standpoint, is quite good on the world they made and how you get to experience it. Audio is one of those things you don't think about too often. I know that is most definitely the case for me, as I tend to ignore background music for the most part, unless it has some damn good lyrics to it. Case in point, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Peak music from any video game ever, though Subnautica does its music and sounds rather well, just not in a loud and proud headbanger type way like Revengeance. It's more low-key. From the moment you dive into the water, you're surrounded by constantly shifting soundscape. Gentle waves above you, the faint hum of distant life, the crackle of thermal vents below. It all feels alive. The ocean isn't just a backdrop, it's breathing, almost like it is a living being. Every biome has its own unique sounds. The safe shallows feel calm, while places like the kelp forest or the sparse reef become more uncertain. It's a subtle change, but one you can feel, and your brain picks up on that before you even know why. Then there are the creatures, and Subnautica really makes you listen to them. You will almost always hear them before you can see them. Case in point, the bone-rattling roar of a Reaper Leviathan. That roar will put the fear of God in you real quick. Honestly, without that roar, I would dare say the Reaper would not be as scary. Granted, it can still wreck your stuff and kill you without much hassle, but without that roar to induce the panic in you, it just comes off as the same like the other hostile Leviathans, which is why the Reaper's roar helps make it come off as dangerous and intimidating to the player. You hear that roar, you are on red alert. Your head is on a swivel trying to find where the Reaper Leviathan is because you know it's close and it might be coming for you, leading to either extreme caution or getting the hell out of the area, both of which are valid plans. The music in Subnautica contributes to that as well, since it only kicks in during key moments, like entering a new biome or when you're exploring something ancient or alien. I wish I had the words to properly describe all the melodies and tones, but I'm very illiterate when it comes to music. But what I will say is that it is not overwhelming. It's subtle and emotional. It makes discovery feel awe-inspiring. It can add intensity to a situation that is already very tense. Simon Chilinsky, I hope I pronounced your name right, did a great job at making the OST. I listened to the entire soundtrack for this video because I wanted to properly gauge it. Overall, I really liked it. I don't really have any tracks I disliked. Some of my favorite tracks, just to name a few, would be Salutations, Into the Unknown, Cuttlefish, Exosuit, Red Alert, and Liftoff. There is more that I like, but I would end up reading off most of the game's soundtrack. My only real complaint is that all the songs are very short, many being over a minute, sometimes two. I would like to listen to them a little bit longer, but music is not the only thing that helps shape the world. The lack of it can have just as big of an impact. Silence is a powerful tool. When the music stops, and the only thing you hear is your breathing, and the occasional creak of your diving suit, it makes you feel completely, utterly alone. It's haunting. As a result, it leads to our final talking point. That being... In Subnautica, you play Riley Robinson, the sole survivor of the Aurora crash. Character-wise, he is not very interesting. He is a silent protagonist. As a result, I would say he is our vessel that we use to explore the game. If anything, I would say the player themselves is the true main character. Normally, I'm not a fan of silent protagonists, but there are exceptions to the rule, and this is one of them, as it helps add to the theme of isolation, since we don't have the protagonist expressing thoughts and feelings of the situation. The only time we hear anything from Riley is when he gets injured and letting out a pain-filled grunt, leaving us to our own personal thoughts and feelings, like we are actually there, all alone, which you will truly experience the further you traverse the ocean. Remember earlier when I said that you would find life pods of those who were also on the Aurora? Yeah, when you end up finding them, they're all destroyed with the survivor or survivors inside of them dead, only leaving behind an audio log on what happened to them. Or how about discovering abandoned bases, which were built by another ship that crash landed here who built them. You get to learn the story of the Degassi and what became of them on the planet, in which you learn a lot more about what is truly happening on 4546B, either through exploration or PDAs you find, where you learn that both the Aurora and Degassi were shot down by an alien enforcement gun. Why did that happen? The planet is under quarantine due to a bacteria known as the Quran, which you are also infected with, by the way, which also adds more to the stress that you are probably feeling. It's not like you can ask or consult someone for advice on what to do. That falls exclusively to you, on what you need to do to try and escape the planet, to deal with the disease, to deal with the dangers. Though you can say that you aren't truly alone since you do have minor contact with others. Things like the PDA, the Sunbeam, and the Sea Emperor Leviathan. The PDA does keep the player informed about their health status and about events and locations that you come across, but it is just an AI. It's a helpful tool, but not what I would consider a companion that will give you proper help, almost like Siri, or Cortana, or Alexa. Just point you in the right direction of something so you can do it yourself. The Sunbeam is a ship that picks up the Aurora's distress beacon and comes in and attempts a rescue. You don't exactly make direct contact with them, as it is more of a one-sided conversation. They do try to rescue, but are destroyed by the alien enforcement platform's gun, effectively destroying your hope of escaping. Then we get to the Sea Emperor Leviathan, who we don't get to interact with until the near end of the game and only contacts us through telepathic means, but is probably the most helpful since we need her help to cure the Kara. Then shortly after, passes away. Though, just because you have minor interactions with the individuals I just went over, does not mean it takes away from the isolation, as you are still feeling the effects of the emotional weight, survival tension, and fear of the unknown throughout the course of your journey. Subnautica is a good game, and one that I enjoyed quite a bit when I played it. The premise is simple, but was executed in a way that makes it stand out compared to other survival games. I think because of this game, I have a much greater appreciation for ambience and background music, something that I never really cared too much about beforehand. It is a shame that Below Zero does not live up to the standard that its predecessor started, in which the protagonist of Below Zero, Robin Ayu, and her massive forehead, is a lot more talkative compared to Riley. Factor in, you have other characters who constantly consult and interact with her, like Alan and Marguerite, which definitely kills off the isolation aesthetic the first game built up. There are other issues with Below Zero, but I have no interest in talking about it more than I have already. Hopefully for Subnautica 2, the devs pivot back to what made the first game great, and prove upon that. Only time will tell for that one. Anywho, tell me, what do you think? Have you ever played Subnautica before? What do you think about it? Do you agree with my take on it? Are you excited for Subnautica 2? I believe early access for it comes out later this year. Tell me in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe. I am pushing closer and closer to 1,000 subs and would truly, and I mean truly, appreciate it if you could help push me over that line. Until next time, I'll catch you all on the flip side.